Now children, let's move on further to find the method of finding the solution of a quadratic equation. There are three methods to find the solution of a quadratic equation. First is the factorization method. Second is by completing the square, and the last one is by using the formula. So children, you have three methods of finding the solution of a quadratic equation. The first one is factorization method. The second method is by completing the square, and the third method is by using the formula. So children, let's start with the first method to find roots of a quadratic equation, that is by factorization method. So the first one, factorization method. To understand this method, children, let's take one problem. Now in this quadratic equation, you have to find out the roots by using factorization method. As you have studied earlier, children, you know that you have to choose a pair of numbers which satisfy two conditions. The first condition, the product of those two numbers should be equal to the last term. Which is the last term over here? Minus 20. And what should be the addition of those two numbers? It should be the coefficient of the middle term, that is plus 1. So which are those two numbers, children? That can be plus 5 minus 4. Let's check. The product of plus 5 into minus 4 is equal to minus 20. So it is satisfying the first condition. Let's drop out the operation of multiplication and just let's sum up the two numbers. Sum will be plus 5 minus 4, which gives you plus 1, the coefficient of the middle term. So it is satisfying both the conditions. So the pair of numbers that we have chosen, plus 5 minus 4, is correct. Now let's move on to solve further to get the roots. We know once the pair is ready with us, what do? We split up the middle term into those two factors. So x squared, I'll rewrite the problem. The middle term is split up by the pair of numbers that you have chosen. So x squared plus 5x minus 4x minus 20, which is equal to 0. What do we do next? Definitely we pay the first two and the last two. Now children, remember, when you are splitting up the middle term, either you write it as plus 5x minus 4x, or you can write minus 4x in the beginning with plus 5x preceding it. So over here what is common? X is common. X into x plus 5 goes as uncommon terms inside the bracket, such that when you open the bracket, you get the first two terms back. Let's check. X into x gives you x squared plus x into 5 gives you 5x. The same procedure will be applied for the next pair. What is common in the signs? Minus. Let's take out a factor, numerical constant common. You know 20 can be split up and written as 4 into 5. So what comes out common? 4 comes out common. Again inside the bracket, the uncommon terms. 4 into x will give me 4x. 4 into 5. Now children, look at the signs over here. Minus sign is already out. What do we place inside such that we get minus? Now, the operation of multiplication is done whenever you have a bracket and you're opening it. So, minus into what will give me minus? Minus into plus will give me minus. And 4 into 5 will give me 20. So, you're back with the same terms which are there in the earlier mathematical equation, which is equal to 0. Let's take out now the common binomial. Which is the common binomial, children, over here? X plus 5. It comes out once. The other bracket contains again the uncommon terms. Which are the uncommon terms? X minus 4 equal to 0. Now, children, you have already learnt in the earlier classes, when you have two terms with the operation of multiplication equal to 0, like AB is equal to 0, then either A is equal to 0 or B is equal to 0. So let's continue. Over here you have x plus 5 into x minus 4 is equal to 0. Therefore we can say either x plus 5 is equal to 0 or x minus 4 is equal to 0. Let's find out both the values of x. Let's take the first one, children. This is a linear equation. X will be equal to 0 plus 5 gets transferred on the other side. So positive becomes negative. So what are you left with? You are left with minus 5 as one of the roots of this quadratic equation. There's one more to solve, children. Over here now, x will be equal to 0. Minus 4 gets transferred from your left hand side to the right hand side. So negative becomes positive. So over here, x will be equal to 4. So ultimately you've got the answer which stands as the roots of this quadratic equation. What is the answer? The answer is minus 4 and 4 are the roots of which equation? Of the equation x squared plus x minus 20, which is equal to 0. So which method did we use over here, children? The method of factorization to find out the roots of the variable in the given quadratic equation. Now, children, let's solve one more problem by using factorization method to understand it more clearly. The problem is 3x squared minus x minus 10 is equal to 0. Let's compare the first problem with the second. What difference do you see, children? The difference lies in the coefficient of the square term. The coefficient of the square term in the earlier problem was 1 and the coefficient of the square term in this problem is 3. The procedure to find the roots of this quadratic equation remains the same. But now, what is the difference? Over here, the product should be equal to 3 into minus 10, that is minus 30. And the sum, as usual, will be the coefficient of the middle term, that is minus 1. So let's think and rack our brains to find the pair which satisfies both the conditions. So which is the pair of numbers? The pair of numbers can be minus 6 and 5. Let's see if they satisfy both the conditions. Minus 6 into 5, minus into plus will give me minus, and 6 5s are 30. Let's see if you sum up, you get the same answer. Minus 6 plus 5 will give me minus 1. So both the conditions are satisfied. So the pair that you can choose is minus 6 and 5. So let's continue with the problem, children. I'll write the problem again. 3x squared minus x minus 10 is equal to 0. What do we do next? The middle term now is split up into two numbers, minus 6 and 5. To get to get minus 1. So let's solve it, children. 3x squared minus 6x plus 5x minus 10, which is equal to 0. What do we do next? Pair the first two, pair the last two. Next, what do we do? Find out what is common, remove it out, and inside the bracket goes the uncommon terms. So what is common in the first two? Look at and concentrate only at the numbers 3 and 6. What is common? 3 as well as x in the variable. Inside the bracket, write the uncommon. 3x comes out as common, so inside will be only x. How do we cross check, children? Multiply and check if you get the same term. So 3x into x will give me 3x squared. What sign do we put? The same sign which is present over there, minus. Now 3x multiplied by what will give me 6x. 3x into 2 will give me 6x. Plus into minus is minus, 3x into 2 is 6x. So right, we are fine with the first bracket. Now, let's continue the same procedure ahead. Plus sign common between the numbers. You know 10 can be split up as 5 into 2. So what comes out common in the constants? 5 is common. Open the bracket for the uncommon terms. 5 into x will give me 5x. Right? Plus into what will give me minus, children? Plus into minus will give me minus. And 5 into what will give me 10? 5 into 2 will give me 10. Let's check it, children, immediately. Plus 5 into x gives me plus 5x. Plus 5 into minus 2. Plus into minus is a minus. And 5 2 is a 10. Which is equal to 0. How do we check? Again, or cross check, children, if this what we have reached to is same. Look at the terms inside which are as uncommon terms in the bracket. Can you see? They come out to be the same. So that is the way we check. Right? So now the next step. Take out the binomial which is common outside. That is x minus 2. And in the other bracket you have the uncommon terms which are out. So that is 3x plus 5 which is equal to 0. Now children, I have already explained AB is equal to 0. So either A is equal to 0 or B is equal to 0. Same will be applied over here. So you have x minus 2 is equal to 0 or 3x plus 5 is equal to 0. Is this a final answer? Definitely not. Ultimately, we have to get the values of the variable. Which is the variable over here? The variable over here is x. So let's start. The first one, x will be equal to 0. Minus 2. Minus becomes plus when it is transferred from one side to the other. So 0 plus 2. So x is equal to 2. Or let's solve this one. Which is more easier to first transfer it on the other side? The one without the variable, the single term. So it will be 3x is equal to 0 minus 5. So 3x is equal to minus 5. Now, is this the answer? No, children. Where we have to end up? We have to find out the value of only x. So over here, can you see? You have 3x. 3 is performing the operation of multiplication. So when it is transferred from the one side to the other, the operation of multiplication becomes division. So let's do it. So x will be equal to finally minus 5 divided by 3. So yes, children, now we have arrived to the answer where x is equal to 2 and x is equal to minus 5 upon 3 are the roots of the given quadratic equation. So let's write the answer. So therefore, x is equal to 2 or x is equal to minus 5 upon 3 are the roots of the equation. Which equation? 3x squared minus x minus 10 is equal to 0. So So which method did we use, children? We used the factorization method. Now for some activity time, children. Let's find out the answers in the boxes. The problem given over here is root 2x squared plus 7x plus 5 into root 2, which is equal to 0. Now again, children, we have to fill in these boxes. So we have to apply the same procedure. Now pay attention. We have to split our plus 7x by selecting a pair of numbers whose product will be root 2 into 5 root 2. Let's do it over here, children. So the product of the two numbers should be 5 root 2 into root 2. Root 2 into root 2 will be 2. 2 into 5, that is equal to 10. And the sum of those two numbers should be equal to the coefficient of the middle term, that is plus 7. So let's choose two numbers such that they satisfy both the conditions. So which are your two numbers? They will be 5 and 2. Let's check out, children. 5 into 2 gives you 10 and plus 5 plus 2 gives you plus 7. So let's continue, children. Now we have to fill up these boxes. Here you have root 2x squared plus dash plus 5 root 2, which is equal to 0. So let's fill up. You have to fill it up by the pair that you have selected. So over here you can write 5x plus 2x in the boxes. Now let's continue further to solve the third mathematical equation. Now over here they have taken out x common. From where, children? From the first two terms. And common from the next two terms. Let's concentrate on the first two terms. From the first two terms, they have taken out x common. So inside, what goes inside the bracket? The uncommon terms. So the uncommon term will be root 2 x with a plus and 5. Let's open the bracket and see if we get the same terms back. X into root 2x will be root 2. X into x is x squared. So there we are right. And 5 into x again gives me 5x. Let's continue to fill up this next bracket. They have taken out root 2 common, children. Inside goes uncommon. So definitely x will go inside. But root 2 into x will give me root 2x. They need over here 2x back. So root 2 into what will give me 2? Root 2 into another root 2 will give me 2 along with the x. Right? Now plus root 2 into what will give me 5 root 2? Root 2 into 5 will give me 5 root 2. Now this fills up the terms inside the bracket. Next term. Children, what we have to fill up? What do we write as the first term? Always the common binomial that we get inside the bracket. That is root 2x plus 5. So let's write it down. Root 2x plus 5, and in the other bracket goes the other uncommon terms, that is x plus root 2, which is equal to 0. Let's move further, children. Let's proceed. Now here dash is equal to 0 or x plus root 2 is equal to 0. So they have taken down x plus root 2 is equal to 0. So over here what is missing? Root 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. If you remember, a into b is equal to 0. So either a is equal to 0 or b is equal to 0. Now, finally to be done with the answer. Here you have to get the value of x. For this binomial, they have already found out the root. X is equal to plus root 2 goes on the other side, becomes minus root 2. Let's solve this and get the final answer for the root of x. I'll do it over here, children. Let me write down the binomial. Root 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. What is easier to be transferred on the other side, children? The single term which is not attached with the variable. So that is plus 5 will go on the other side. So what are you left with? You are left with root 2x, which goes as 0, plus 5 when it takes the other side goes as negative. So root 2x is equal to minus 5. Now root 2 is performing the operation of multiplication. When it goes on the other side, division. So therefore x is equal to minus 5 upon root 2. So what is the answer over here? The answer over here is minus